Hey, I'm wedding portrait photographer Vanessa Joy, and I'm talking to you all about light patterns for the face. This video is sponsored by Squarespace. How you light your subject's face makes a world of a difference. And I have a bunch of photos here that we're gonna scroll past so you can just see how this model's face changes depending on where the light is positioned on her. It's kind of creepy. It's kind of transformative. I mean, she looks completely different from one light setting to the next, and everybody absolutely does. You can use light to enhance someone's features, their good features, or enhance their maybe features they're a little bit more self-conscious about. Let me talk to you about the basic lighting patterns on the face. We of course have backlighting, and when you have the light behind, that's gonna backlight. Now that will create somewhat of a glow behind them, but if you up your exposure, then you'll probably have a somewhat flat light on their face. This can be flattering for people who have a little bit more blemishes on their face because it's gonna tone down the contrast. It's kind of a fun light to play with. It creates that light and airy feeling to a photograph, especially if you are exposing for the face. You could of course also make silhouettes out of having the light behind. Now as you move the light around, let's just say to a 90-degree angle, really on either side, that's your classic side lighting. And when you're looking at your subject's face, you know it's side lighting because the shadow and light line go right down the middle of their face. As you continue to move into what people fondly call Rembrandt lighting, and it's at a 45-degree angle either way, you can recognize this type of lighting because one side is lit, but the other side has a triangle. Now this is a very slimming, typical, flattering, classic portraiture lighting pattern on the face. You have light in both eyes, this little triangle of light right here below one eye while the other side is illuminated. Keep going, and of course you will end up at the front. You have front lighting. This is the most flattering light if you want to hide wrinkles because it takes away all the texture on someone's face because there's no shadows. So this is a very flattering light, and probably one of the reasons why direct flash is making a comeback, because direct flash is flat light. I have been using Squarespace for over a decade, and you can see it at vanessajoy.com. I decided to use Squarespace so long ago because it was one of the easiest, and still is, one of the easiest ways to make a website out there, hands down. Squarespace is a platform where you can create beautiful custom websites in just a few minutes. Choose from a plethora of templates where you can easily plug and play your own work. It's an all-in-one platform for building your brand and growing your business online. We all know that an online presence is crucial for your brand, so build one that stands out. Head over to this link for my exclusive 10% discount on your first domain at Squarespace. Now back to the video. Now, the little trick, while it is taking away wrinkles, it's not particularly slimming light. So if you have somebody who's self-conscious about their cheeks and they think they're too big or something, flat light is going to enhance that. If you have someone who is self-conscious about that, then you're gonna wanna go to side or that 45-degree angle Rembrandt lighting, and it will kind of slim them down more. Let's keep going because, light doesn't only go on an even circle around someone's face, it also goes up and around. There's sort of infinite ways you can light someone. The way I'm lit right now is I have one light right here, and this type of lighting, it's technically clamshell lighting because I also have this white table that's bouncing a reflector. We did this on purpose. I love this lighting. This is your typical beauty portrait model type lighting because you can see it enhances my cheekbones. It gets light into my eyes so you're not seeing dark circles, hopefully, unless I'm really tired. It also accentuates or hides the neck or chin if you are self-conscious about that and want to appear more slim there. So this is a pretty nice lighting pattern. Now you could just move it over this way a little bit, and now you've got that 45-degree, but at a slightly higher angle, which is super flattering, and just keep moving it all around. Now the one lighting pattern I don't recommend unless you're trying to offend someone or make it look like they're telling scary ghost stories is to have them lit from the bottom. From the bottom is going to put light up their nose. It's going to accentuate any heaviness they may or may not like underneath their chin, on their cheeks. It's going to create circles. Your cheekbones are going to create shadows in the eyes. It's just not nice. Don't do it. Don't do it to anyone unless you're being mean.
But I wanted to start with this one because this one needed the most comment. As we were going through all of the different photos, it's like, oh, well, the background's different on this one. And you know what? Yeah, you're right. Because we had to backlight her, if we look at the actual photo here, and this is without any edits, this is what it looked like. You know, I didn't change my exposure for you while I went through that entire thing, but I felt like it was necessary to do so with the backlit one because you would not have necessarily taken the photo like this. I mean, you may have in order to get the detail on the hair, or you may have photographed it this way. There's actually two ways you could go about it. I'm just going to pull down all the highlights, maybe kind of split the difference and then bring up the shadows. And then here on my subject, we can come highlight my subject here and then just bring up the exposure, maybe mostly on these skin tones. Although I can see that's affecting that. Let's go right here. You see it's affecting the hair and I really don't want to do that. Just want it to affect her face. So we could, if we wanted to, hit subtract here, and we're going to subtract with my brush, and then we can erase that part. Let me go ahead, cover overlay. Yeah, that's fine. Show overlay. That's what I want to see. And I want to go ahead and subtract her hair here. And we don't have to do it entirely. You can mess with the flow and the density here, but for me, I want it entirely because I don't want to see any of her hair get affected. All of this just to show you how I'm going to edit this photo, but There's a method to the madness. Mostly it's just us photographers can't help ourselves. So, okay, now I feel a little bit better. We can now come up with the exposure and we can see it's just affecting, I'm being dramatic just so you can see it's just affecting her face, but I do want to come up with the shadows here, probably add a little bit of contrast because I like the kind of contouring we're having in her face. Bring up the whites a little bit. Yeah, and that's pretty good right there. Actually, probably bring down the highlights so there's no shine. Good. I'm going to hit K. So something I like to do here in Photoshop, and I actually do have adaptive presets coming out for this, so you can kind of shortcut some of this. But hitting K creates my new mask, and I'm just going to go over to my presets. I have one for softening the skin, and then just coming over and doing that. Again, the adaptive presets I have coming out, that might be out by the time you're watching this. You'll be able to grab those at presets.breatheyourpassion.com. And, you know, I also have these all here as well. It's to your liking. You may or may not want that much. Probably that's good for me. I'm going to hit K. And then I also wanted just to saturate her eyes. I don't do a ton of editing, but this one, again, was just one of my favorites. And I am going to blue this down a little bit just to make her eyes pop. The saturation is already up. So that's pretty much it. There's my before and after. And then, of course, we'll probably crop this because we see my assistant there. We could always just take her out. But honestly, I think this is a good one-to-one crop right there. Cool. All right, let me just go to some of these. I'm just going to edit one of these. I think I like this is her better side. She's got just total Tay-Swift jobs. Tay-Swift vibes. I don't know where job came from. I'm just going to go over. These are my presets that I have over here. You can get those at presets.breatheyourpassion.com. I'm going for like a vintagey vibe. I think I already went over it. The one I know I already did. The one that I want up here, it's probably this Joy Me Pretty. She just looks so good in that coloring. It's so pretty. Although I like this wedding shoes one. Yeah. You know, when it comes to photographing for my clients, I'm not going to go through all these presets, you know, but when it comes to editing for myself and I just feel like having a little bit of fun, then that's when I go ahead and do that. So I'm just going to do that same saturate eyes because I want to bring up her eyes right there. Probably didn't need to see that overlay because it was not the best overlay I've ever done. All right, just to give them a little, let's not make them glow crazy, especially since I did not do the best job ever with my mask. Let's go ahead and do the saturation. I'm sorry, no, soften skin, just to help smooth out a little bit of the shine. I also was using very hard light for these to really exaggerate the shadows and the highlights because I wanted to do that for you so you could really see the difference between all of the light patterns that we went through. So there's our before and there's our after. Although now I'm looking at it, I kind of like how magenta that one was. So I think I'm just gonna give a little magenta and give a little bit of blue. So not as much of the preset. Of course, I could come over here and just knock off a little my preset, go a little bit more, a little bit less. So just depending on your workflow. There's a bazillion ways to skin a cat. Anyway, those are the 2 photos. And this one, let's just go for an exaggerated crop here since the other one went square. And honestly, I kind of like the shenanigans happening over here, that little mirror. So good. So there are 2 of my photos. Just figured I would show you how I would edit these photos, even though this was really a lighting demonstration. But there you go. Why not? Oh, see, I'm going to have to add film grain onto this. This is the problem. This is the problem right here. This is why photographers never get any work done. Yes. Just a little smidgy poo. Okay, now I'm done. I swear. Totally done. Back to the video.
So I hope that I've given you a brief overview of all these types of lighting patterns. And again, take a look at what it looks like just as we move this light around my model's face and how it transforms her. So take care in how you are lighting your subjects. Be very aware of where the light direction is coming from. I hope that you stick around, hit like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.